What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to answer a very important question. Should you promote your Squirrel Girl to 7 red stars? But more important than that, we are going to take a look on how you should evaluate each character and make the decision on your own if you should promote a character to 6 or 7 red stars, which means spending gold promotion credits on them or not. Gold promotion credits is a currency that is very hard to obtain. It's very scarce, hard to come by, and if you want to buy it, it's very expensive. And this is why it's very important to be well informed when you want to make the decision to invest a gold promotion on a character. So if you like the information on this video, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button. Okay, so why are we talking about this topic? One of the reasons why we are talking about this topic is because we have the Scourge event coming up very soon, and we also have some content creators that are suggesting or are almost mandating that you need to get a Squirrel Girl to 7 red stars. This individual had the Squirrel Girl at 5 red stars, and he decided it was a good idea to get her to 6 red stars and then to 7 red stars. So this is a question that has been asked very broadly because we have this Scourge event coming up very soon, and in this Scourge event you'll require city characters, and most specifically you are going to require young Avenger characters, and Squirrel Girl, she is a young Avenger. But is the kit of Squirrel Girl good enough? Is the kit of Squirrel Girl beneficial enough to give gold promotion credits to? This is what we are going to take into consideration. We are going to take a look at different situations that will help us making the decision. And one of the ways you can also make a decision is by the ISO weight. Depending on the ISO weight you have on the character, the main ISO weight for a specific character, the red stars might be more value or not. So this is something that we are also going to take into consideration. Okay, so with this in mind, we are going to take a look at the methodology, and we are also going to take a look at 2 characters that are somewhat similar, Squirrel Girl and Dagger. We are going to take a look at which of them is more beneficial to give gold promotion credits to. And before we start that, I just want to talk about the kit of Squirrel Girl. Similar to the Dagger, she does damage, she does healing, she does damage, and she does whatever. But there is one particular situation about the special of Squirrel Girl, is that it is a dead ability. And what does this mean, a dead ability? It's ability that you can activate it and it might not do anything, or it might not do significant things to the enemy. So it's an ability that you trigger, you activate the ability, and it doesn't do anything. So for example, if you have heal block on your characters, that means that you are going to clear the negative effect, you are going to heal and then clear the negative effects. That means it doesn't do anything. So some characters like Miss Marvel, she has the special that heals herself, so it doesn't affect the entire team, it doesn't affect the entire match, it affects mostly her. And that means that some characters have abilities that have very low value. Once again, we have a Miss Marvel, we have a Squirrel Girl, and off the top of my head, those are the most important characters that we need to mention because they are important right now. It's abilities that you trigger and they barely do anything, and the cooldown is not relevant enough, the mechanic of the ability is not relevant enough, and this is something that we need to take into consideration when we are making these decisions. Okay, so, and like Striker on her is not good, we are going to talk about that. Definitely not Striker, and definitely the answer is no. You should not give gold promotion credits to Squirrel Girl, but we are going to understand why. Okay, so let's take a look at the spreadsheet. I hope it will be clear enough. So once again, we are going to take a look at Dagger and Squirrel Girl as our test examples. And once again, they have similar kits. Both of them do damage, both of them do healing, and both of them apply negative effects to the enemies. Now, something that we need to take into consideration right here in the middle is red stars effects on stats. Red stars effects on stats. When you give red stars to a character, you are increasing the multiplier on those stats. So if you give more red stars to a character, he'll get more health, more damage, more armor, and so on. And one thing that we need to have in mind is that 1000 times 0 is still 0. So if a character has low base armor, for example, in the case of Squirrel Girl, she has low base armor, that means giving more red stars to her will not increase that much those stats. So in comparison between Dagger and Squirrel Girl, you can see already that without buffs, Squirrel Girl has less HP and she also has a significant less amount of armor. So once again, giving red stars to Squirrel Girl directly based on how it affects the stats, it's going to be worse for Squirrel Girl when compared to Dagger. Other thing that we need to take into consideration, not only the damage, the health, the armor, and the focus and resistance, is also secondary effects that these stats will have. Health gives also more barrier and more healing. Barrier is more important because barrier can bypass heal block and so on, so barrier will be more significant when compared directly to healing. And then we have damage and drain. Drain is also a consequence of damage, but because they are not directly tied, it's not as relevant. It adds value, but it's not directly added. And here we have focus and resistance on the yellow, because when you add red stars to a character, these two main stats have less value when compared to armor, damage, and health. And this is not only truth when you are comparing red stars on different characters, it's also truth when you compare teal gear. I made a video in the past that you should not spend the teal gear on certain characters, like Squirrel Girl as well. You can see that my Squirrel Girl, she doesn't have teal gear, and I'm not going to give her teal gear unless she is mandatory. Other characters like this, we have Emma Frost, kit-based character, and they don't get as much value of the red stars or teal gear because of that, because it mostly increases health, damage, and armor. Okay, so now let's take a look on how do the abilities work and how red stars affect the abilities. We are going to take a look here, as you can see, basic, special, ultimate, and the passive. This is something that you need to ask yourself before. Does the basic deals damage? Yes. Does the basic deals healing? Yes. Does the basic gives barrier? Yes. Does the basic applies negative effects or flip positive effects on the enemies, or clears negative effects on the enemies? Those are things that you need to take into consideration, because if some of these answers are, if some of these questions have the answer yes, then you are doubling up on the value of the red star. So if you have an ability that only does damage, the red star value is only 1. But you have if you have an ability that not only does damage, but also does healing and also gives barrier, then you are tripling up on the value of the red stars on the basic. And this is all things that we need to take into consideration. Then we have the second consideration that we need to ask, which is what is the type of damage, what is the type of healing? Are you going to heal just one character? Are you going to heal multiple characters? And what type of damage are we talking about? Are we talking about piercing damage, or are we talking about normal damage? This is something that we have to compare between Squirrel Girl and Dagger. It's because Dagger, she always does piercing damage, and Squirrel Girl, she always does normal damage. Normal damage is going to be reduced by the amount of armor the enemies have, which is something very, very important. Characters like Bishop, they don't age well because they don't have piercing damage. The higher the armor of the enemies get, the less damage Bishop is going to do because of that. While Dagger, she will always age well because she will always do maximum damage because of the piercing damage. So this is something that you need to ask. Does this ability does piercing damage? If yes, great, that's double of the value already. Then, does the ability apply bleeds? Does the ability attacks multiple times? Does the ability attacks multiple targets? Those are all things that you need to ask for each of the abilities to see if you are doubling up on the value of your red stars or not. Because, for example, a character like Captain Sam or Star-Lord T'Challa, they are very good characters for you to apply red stars on because they attack multiple times with their basic. And especially if you have the right ISO weight, if you have, for example, Striker ISO weight, or if you have the healer ISO weight, depending on the characters, that will increase the value. For example, Fortifier has less value compared to red stars and teal gear when you compare with the damage and with the Striker ISO weight and with the healer ISO weight, because Striker and healer, they passively give more benefits out of each turn that you have, while the Fortifier ISO weight doesn't give as much, or it just gives to the main character. So those are all things that we need to take into consideration when you are deciding if a character is worth the gold promotion credits or not. Are you doubling up on the value? If you are not doubling up, tripling up, or quadrupling up on the value, maybe you should not consider giving red stars to that character. And this is something with Squirrel Girl. You can see right here, this is Dagger. Dagger, she has multiple times green. That means the answer is yes, multiple times green. While Squirrel Girl, she has multiple times red, and she also, when she has yes, she also has conditional yes. Because, for example, with the basic, yes, she attacks multiple characters, but you cannot control exactly which character is going to be the second to be attacked. Then, does she apply negative effects? Yes, but you don't know exactly which character is going to get the negative effect. So, while with Dagger you get a direct value and you get a certain value, with the Squirrel Girl you have a lot of uncertainty. For example, also with her special, do I have a heal block? If I have a heal block, I cannot use the special, or I'm going to waste all the healing. And this is very, very important. Finally, the last thing I want to mention, and I didn't make the graphic for it, but it's important, is the multipliers. If an ability, for example, from Dagger, the basic, if the basic does 300% damage, of course it's going to have more value. For example, on Dagger's ultimate, she has 20% multiplier plus 300% multiplier. That means a total of 500% multiplier. With the Squirrel Girl, she only has a multiplier of 200%. So if the multiplier is also lower, that means your red stars will have lower value. This is something extremely important. Always pay attention to the multipliers and also pay attention to the base damage to see, once again, if you are doubling up on the value of your gold promotion credits or not. Because if you are not, then it's not worth spending gold promotion credits on that character. And this is what happens with Squirrel Girl. So let's see now the situation with Squirrel Girl. Basic attack, deals damage, yes, but it's conditional. Does healing? No. Gives barrier? No. Applies negative effects? Yes, but we don't know exactly which target. Special, deals damage? No. Does healing? Yes, if you don't have heal block. Gives barrier? No. Flips negative effects on enemies or applies negative effects on the enemies? No. Ultimate, deals damage? Yes, but it has a very low multiplier. Does healing? No. Gives barrier? No. Applies negative effects consistently? Yes. Okay, so green. And the passive ability from Squirrel Girl. Deals damage? No. Does healing? No. Gives barrier? No. Flips positive effects or applies negative effects to the enemies? No. So this is a big deal. When you have all these things into consideration, you'll see very, very clearly that Squirrel Girl is not a character worth promoting with using gold promotion credits on. And you can see right here, when we take a look at the piercing damage, it's just so bad that it's not even worth taking into consideration. So we have a score. This is not the best score. The points should be a little bit better because there are way more things that we need to take into consideration. And I rounded up for Squirrel Girl. I gave her more points than she was worth of. And you can see clearly, should you spend gold promotion credits on Squirrel Girl? 19% yes, 19% yes, this is what you are getting. Once again, this is rounded up, it's probably 10% if I would be like honestly hard on her. What about the Dagger? Should I spend gold promotion credits on Dagger? 63% yes. So we have 19 favorite here and we have 60% here. Of course, Dagger is way better to spend gold promotion credits on compared to Squirrel Girl. And the reason that, oh yeah, we have the Scourge event coming or whatever, it's not significant enough. It's not her damage that is going to change anything. It's not her low multiplier healing. She also has low multiplier on her healing. It's 15% plus another 15%, very, very low multiplier. And it's not this that is going to make a change. It's not giving her a teal gear that is going to make a change. Is having the right characters, the right team, attacking the right targets, the right enemies, and sometimes using a team to sack, and that's it. That's how you're going to win on the Scourge event. It's not by wasting. This is waste. This isolate and this gold promotion credits is 100% waste. But just to end this, if she is your favorite character, if you want to play with her all the time, then it's up to you. There is no answer beyond that when your feelings are more important than the value of the character in-game. So if it's your favorite character, go ahead and spend your gold promotion credits, because I would probably do the same. So yeah guys, that's going to be the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. And if you found the information helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.